cartoons are.
All right, well, what would Jim Salisbury? He's an alpha male cartoon. What would he? Would he be Bugs Bunny? I think he would be Bugs Bunny.
Oh no, Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Perfect for him. That'd be perfect for Jim.
All right. Well, guess what? He is up right now. Let's see if he approves of Derek's description. Jim, are you buying that, man?
No, Foghorn Leghorn, that big chicken. I am not Foghorn Leghorn.
I'll see.
I said Bugs Bunny because you can do it all, you know. And
underdog. I'll be underdog.
Here we come to save the day.
I always used to have. I had a crush on Sweet Polly Purebred.
Do you?
I did.
We're learning a lot, Jim.
Hey, these kids, they don't know what the hell you're talking about.
They're like, who?
Polly Purebred was beautiful.
She was. She was hot.
Yep.
Yeah. Go back and YouTube it, kids. So Jim Salisbury joins us. And good to have Jimmy with us. You can check him out on Twitter at @JSalisbury NBCS. And of course, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. Amazing job covering. Jim, your work, has been par with what the team's doing, man. You're on fire right now. I will tell you that. It is must-read kind of stuff of late.
Well, thank you. It's we get into this business because we're storytellers and we enjoy telling stories, and this has certainly been a good one to tell.
I love the way you painted the whole Harper approaching, stepping up the dugout. We know that Real Muto was up before him, but we give the whole line that he throws out there and Long reacts and the whole build up to that when he was talking to Real Muto. Can you just kind of account for that for maybe people to get a chance to see your piece?
Sure. It's the bottom of the eighth. They're down by a run. And Real Muto's leading off that bottom of the eighth inning. And he walks up the stairs to go out to the on-deck circle. And Harper is right behind him. And Harper says out loud, basically to hitting coach Kevin Long, but a number of people heard him, including Bryson Stott and Dusty Wathan. He said, "Let's give him something to remember." And Kevin Long responded by saying, "Go do something cool." Mm-hmm. And I think on both,
it worked.
He succeeded. He certainly did something cool. And he certainly did give I was going to say 46,000 people something to remember, but an entire region something to remember, because everybody's kind of captivated by this story. And hey, look, there used to be that old commercial, Philly loves a winner. And obviously Philadelphia loves winners, but there's something kind of unexpected and surprising about all this that I think has even grabbed people a little bit more. So it's been, Harper, that home run, those are the type of home runs that kids and adults see and they talk about forever. They're like the Mazeroski home run and the Dick Sisler home run back in 50, and the Joe Carter home run, and the Matt Stairs home run, and the Carlton Fisk home run. They're home runs that, you're sitting around at a 4th of July cookout or Thanksgiving or even, the barbershop, and it comes up and people, I remember that one. I was there for that one. And they get talked about forever. They're timeless, iconic moments. And, we've had a lot of them in this town, but that was another one. And it was really great to witness.
Hey, Jim, a lot of writers that I know, and I want to know if you did this as well, not just this past series we watched, but the entire playoff run. You get to a certain point in the game, you start to write your storyline because you think you have a true Beyonce. You know what I'm going to ask you. How many times did you have to change your story narrative the way these games unfolded across the playoffs?
It happens all the time, all season long, because, you're pushing the button with an early story right after the game. I'll tell you a story. I think I have an old computer in this house, somewhere in this house. I have an old computer that says, from 1997, that says the Cleveland Indians won the World Series last night. And I had to seriously rewrite it because, if you remember, the Marlins rallied. In that World Series and won it. So it happens all the time. And I'm sure in this computer I'm speaking to you on, I had two stories going at once. You have the split screen.
Wow.
You have the story about this surprise Phillies team and their improbable run continues with a 2-0 win because Rhys Hoskins hit that home run, right? and you don't have the 2 and the 0 when they have XX, but you're kind of feeling it's going that way. And Zach Wheeler's pitching great, and so you got the story working that the Phillies are headed to the World Series on the strength of a Rhys Hoskins home run and Zach Wheeler's great pitching performance. And then Sir Anthony comes in, and it's raining, and he allows 2 runs on 3 very uncharacteristic wild pitches. He allowed 2 runs, and anyway, the Padres take the lead. So now you start working on a story that says, ready for Game 6 in San Diego, and Aaron Nola's going to get the ball. And so to answer your question, yeah, you changed it all the time, and I had 2 stories going on that one, and ended up, Harper hits that home run, switch screens, and start pounding on the one where they won, and try to, you're looking up, you're looking down, and you're trying to capture, and then you send that one, and then after you kind of can kind of take it all in and go upstairs and write like a second effort, and that was the one where I wrote about him coming out of the dugout. Let's give everybody something to remember, and just speaking to a lot of people and trying to capture. One of my favorite parts of the story is how I ended the story. Nick Castellanos gets the final put out and catches the final out in right field. And I'm chatting with him about it. And, what'd you do with the ball? I gave it to Bryce. I said, wow. He said, yeah. I said, this is for you. This is for you, bro. This is your time. Mm-hmm. And it was really poignant and really and kind of what it's all about. They really are, they're a team. They really kind of care for each other. I mean, you probably have seen teams where the guys didn't care for each other and just kind of blah. And when the guys, I know it's one of the cliches, but you play for the guy next to you. It's become a cliche in the last 10 years, but when it's really organic and it's natural and it really is happening, it can be really special. And I feel like all these guys have each other's back. They play for each other, and they, something Kyle Schwarber told me 2 months ago. He said, and he's been on a lot of good teams. He said, all the good teams are close. They're close teams. And this is a close team. It's something John Kruk told me in 2011. I was at the All-Star game in Arizona, in Phoenix. And I was at the airport the next morning, and we were talking about the 2011 team. And they were obviously a great team. And I told them that, all the players, they chartered Halliday or Hamels or somebody chartered a plane, and they all flew out there together so they could have fun together and go to the All-Star game together. And he said, that's one of the reasons they're good. They like each other. They get along. They're close. They're happy. They're enjoying it. And it's true. I see this quality in this team. They're close. They enjoy each other. They get excited for each other's big moments. And, instead of stuffing that ball in his back pocket, Nick Castellanos gave it to Bryce Harper because, quote, it was his time. And so it was a really neat moment to see.
Wow, that's incredible, man. Going through, when, of course, when we got Castellanos, we got Schwarber, and so we knew we had that. We knew we had some offensive firepower, Real Muto on those guys. But, you look at the starters. You got Zach Wheeler. You got Ranger Suarez. You got Nola. We knew they were going to be okay. But when did you say, all right, this bullpen's going to be okay? Or did you ever think they were going to be okay enough to get us to the World Series? Uh-oh. I made him freeze that question.
That was such a good question, Barry. That it
deep
literally
in thought. He's deep in thought.
It took Jim's internet out. It was that great a question. I mean, you just fire off questions that could affect a lot of different things.
He fires off comments that affect a lot of different things.
What?
We're gonna get him straightened out. Don't
Not
worry. No. Well,
don't try to use D Guns.
Xander's gonna get Jim back up.
Never me.
That isn't it funny? Like, how many times does that happen when we ask this question and then you're like waiting and you're like, oh man. It just goes, man. It's unbelievable how that happens. I swear to God.
Because I've never asked that question to anybody, man. But I really want to know, did you get comfortable with our bullpen at any time? Did you get comfortable?
Jimmy's back. Jimmy's back. All right, Jim. So Barrett, tee it up again. He might have.
I'm sorry. I got the question. The question. You guys hear me now? I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
We got you.
Okay, I got dial-up internet out here.
All right, hold on, Jim. Before you answer, funny story, really funny interruption story. Okay, these guys make fun of me because when we were getting those bad storms, I lost internet a bunch of times. I had to run up to like a local Panera in my neighborhood. Okay. So I got so obsessed with getting things straightened out at my house that I was like on the street looking for like Xfinity workers. I'm not even kidding you. Okay. I found this guy and I swear to God. So he knew who I was and I'm talking to him and he says, "You're not going to believe this. I was at Jim Salisbury's house not all that long ago to straighten some. I swear to God.
That's right.
That's crazy.
I swear to you." And he says, "Yeah, we got him taken care of. He was having some problems and he's all straightened out and you're going to be good to go too." And I knock on wood, we've been okay since, but I swear to you, that is real. I am not kidding. But anyway.
Well, every time the wind blows out here, I live in Westchester. Every time the wind blows, we lose electricity and internet. And like maybe there was a gust of wind. Yeah. Maybe
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so you raised. Did we lose it again? No,
you're
good,
back.
Right?
You're back.
You're good.
Barrett asks about. You framed the question around. They got Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez, and then the bullpen. That's what's making this very improbable. Is they only have 3 starters they really trust.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I only went 3 deep.
They can't come up with a 4th starter. And they've twice patched it with, kind of a quick start from Syndergaard or Bailey Falter, and Bailey Falter, a really quick start. But they've, for all intents and purposes, bullpen games, and they've won both of them. So just one of the many things on my list about why it kind of feels special, on top of, Gene Segura hitting balls a foot off the plate and the St. Louis Cardinals all-star closer melting down and Castellanos having an RBI single off the second base bag. But when did I realize the bullpen? If you remember a little bit, going into June, they make a managerial change. Schwarber and Hoskins go crazy. They start winning. All of a sudden, the defense got better, and the bullpen actually had about 3 really good months.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of coincided with Sir Anthony kind of getting his confidence and getting his good health, because Knebel was struggling. But Alvarado came back from the minor leagues after a kind of a brief tune-up down there. He came back a confident pitcher, a different pitcher. Sir Anthony got healthy. Bellatti's done a really good job. Hand had a really good stretch, kind of hit a wall here. So the bullpen did it for a while, and then they struggled a bit in September. The big thing here is what I'm seeing in the postseason is, other than that 4th spot, they're getting innings from their starters. I know Ranger had 1 short one, but for the most part, they're getting innings, especially from their big 2. And that's allowed them to, not have to overexpose their bullpen. And you got Alvarado and Dominguez really pitching well, so you can kind of go to those guys. I know Sir Anthony had a tough one the other day. You hope it was just the weather and not confidence. Probably was the weather. I mean, we were sitting up there. You guys are probably there. I mean, it really started to rain hard. So,
yeah.
I always thought the bullpen had some talent, but hey, it's still in the back of your mind that they need to continue it. I don't know that they're like lock it down every game bullpen. They need to keep pitching well. They need Alvarado to keep pitching well, and they need Sir Anthony to keep pitching well. So that's kind of been, one of their recipes for success. But, when you have the 3rd best record in the National League after June 1st, I mean, some things have to go right. And the bullpen actually was one of the things that went right a good number of games after being really a fatal flaw and preventing them from making the postseason the last 2 years. I just want to point out, they would not even have made the improbability of all this. They would not even have made the postseason last year, because they are the 6th seed in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
That spot didn't exist last year.
That's right.
They wouldn't have been in. Conversely, if there was a 6th spot, they would have been in several times in the early 2000s. So it's they won 87 games, which I've seen teams, the 06 Cardinals had fewer wins. I mean, they got in and they got hot. Phillies have got in and they got hot. The Braves only had 88 wins last year and they won it. They got in and they get hot. But the Phillies, as the 6th seed, had 24 fewer wins than the number 1 seed, the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's amazing. So that's just testament to get in and get hot, or if you're a good team, get in and stay hot. And it also it makes for a very, very entertaining tournament because you don't know what the heck's going to happen. I'm sure the folks in LA and Queens,
New York, yeah,
Queens are disappointed because they had 100-win teams that exited. But that all makes it a great story.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Phillies in 2011. I mean, they were in the same boat for sure, red hot team. Jim, I want to hit you with two things here, two I think seminal moments, and I don't necessarily mean the bat slam or Harper's home run, but you brought up one of them. You go back to St. Louis. I don't know if they escape St. Louis if they don't come back and win this game one. They put up they're down 3-0 going into that last inning or 2-0, sorry, and going into that last inning, and they just explode, and they win that, and then the catch the Castellanos makes when Atlanta almost inexplicably came back out of nowhere. I mean, those two moments to me, real early in the journey, are like everything could have changed there.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I went to the after that game one in St. Louis, I went to the interview room and I asked the first question of Rob Thomson. I said, "Do you feel like you stole one?" Because it looked like they were going to lose that game. They did not hit all day. Mm-hmm. And the St. Louis Cardinals bring in an all-star closer throwing 102. A guy that the Phillies saw during the regular season a couple times, and he looked great, Ryan Helsley. And all of a sudden, the guy can't throw a strike.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like they stole one. I do feel like they were given one. Mm. But in addition to when somebody gives you something, in sports, you got to take it.
Right.
They gave you an opportunity, but you took it by having good at bats and by being selective and not chasing out of the zone. And then when you get multiple guys on base, Gene Segura just displays unbelievable hand-eye coordination and gets you a big hit. And then all of a sudden, after not hitting all day, we get a little confidence in the dugout. Schwarber sacrifice fly, big hit by Brandon
Marsh.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a lot of ways the Cardinals gave it away, and the Phillies were fortunate. But the Phillies, a good athlete takes an opportunity. A good team takes an opportunity, mm-hmm. and they took it, and they made good on it, and that sort of turned the whole thing around. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. The next day, Harper hits that early home run and get a great pitching performance, and I mean, it could all be different if it wasn't for that moment in St. Louis. It could be all different, and it could be all different. Reese Hoskins' non-error in Game 2,
true,
right?
That could have been terrible, but they came back and they won Game 3 and 4 against Atlanta. And it's almost cliche to say Philadelphia fans are great. They support their teams. They love winners. They're passionate. They're loud. This home field and these fans, have become a weapon for this team.
Mm. It swept the Padres, so yeah, you're right.
It's become a weapon. It is a legitimate difference maker. Like having a good player in your lineup, they have this sort of 10th man type quality or 11th man, whatever you want to call it. The fans in that ballpark, it's a difference maker, and these guys are feeding off it. It's not just a supportive crowd and a loud crowd. It's almost like another man in the lineup.
Right.
It's giving these guys an incredible, I don't even want to say intangible lift because you can almost see it.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, can you put it in its proper perspective, because you're with this team every day, just how badly Harper wants this when you consider he leaves Washington and next year they win the World Series, and he's like, what the heck? So that had to be in his back of his mind leading up to this particular journey.
No question. You guys have seen it. Great players. They have everything. This kid was on Sports Illustrated cover when he was 16. He's a 2-time MVP. He's an all-star. He's won the All-Star Home Run Derby. He's got a humongous contract. But, I think there's a validation that goes with being a champion. Anytime you play in a team, any sport, even like tennis or individual sports, you want to be a champion. That's a measure of you as a competitor, a measure of your talent, a measure of you as a teammate. And I think those things are important to him. But look at all the great players that have played out there that never won a championship. There's that little thing that's missing.
Yeah.
That little thing that's missing. And, he's been in the league now, what, 11 or 12 years?
Yeah, he broke in when he was 19. He's 30, right? It's got to be right around there. 18,
yeah.
19.
So,
yeah.
Look, if he retired tomorrow, he is in the Hall of Fame.
No question.
Okay. And he'd have a nice big plaque with all these accomplishments on it. There's still one thing that's missing: World Series champion. And so, I think it's very important to him. But it's very important to every guy in that room. Very important to every guy in that room. It's why you play to be a champion. You win an MVP. I'm sure that's a great memory, but there's nothing like a memory playing on a championship team. I don't know that they have reunions for MVPs. They have reunions for championship teams. And you always have that brotherhood, and they do have a championship now. They have a National League championship, but the big one's still out there. Harper really articulated that well. So he was asked a couple, and I think we all can safely say it was the biggest hit of his life, his career, best swing of his life, most impactful hit of his career, whatever. But he stopped short of acknowledging that because I thought brilliantly said it. When you're in the backyard and you're playing wiffle ball or hardball, whatever you're playing, and you're dreaming of having the big hit, 3-2 count, game on the line. You're not dreaming of game on the line on June 13th, and you're not dreaming of the game on the line in the LCS. You're dreaming of the game on the line in the World Series. So that's where you want to do it. So that's why he stopped short of saying it was the biggest hit of his life, because he wants to try to do it again in the coming week. And the way he's going, I saw him carry the team for 3.5 months last year. Now he's really carrying it for 2.5 weeks now. The way he's going, and those Houston Astros are really good. The way he's going, I don't put anything past them.
And you can't downplay how the other players are going to play for him because of that. I'm a witness to that because I won a Super Bowl trying to get Jerome Bettis to win a Super Bowl on his last year in front of his hometown. You know what I'm saying? And then we won a Super Bowl. We may not have been as talented as the teams we played to win the Super Bowl, but we won it because of Jerome and us coming together. And I see the same thing kind of happening with with the young guys. You got Stott and all those guys want to win it right now for the guy of the team. The MVP of this team for sure.
I think they want to win it. Definitely, everybody has Harper's back, but JT Realmuto is a great player and a great teammate. He's never won it. Zach Wheeler is a great pitcher and a great teammate. He's never won it. Aaron Nola is one of the finest gentlemen you will ever meet in your life, a great teammate and a great pitcher. He's never won it. Rob Thomson is one of the finest gentlemen you ever meet in your life. He's never won it.
Wow.
Kyle Schwarber has won it, but he's probably the best teammate in that clubhouse and the leader, I will tell you, the leader, the guy everybody looks to for that intangible know-how. He's one of the most inclusive people I've ever been around in a locker room setting. 27 big guns, loves them all, brings them all in. So they want to win it for all those guys. For all those guys, it's really, it's not just Harper. Trust me on that. It's not just Harper. Harper's the showman, and he's the guy who delivered. And that they want to win it for Rhys Hoskins. I mean, Rhys Hoskins is amazing. He gets booed. I have people walk by the press box all the time saying, "Get rid of Hoskins, trade Hoskins," and then they boo him. The guy never puts his head down. He never complains, and then he gets hot, and everybody loves him. So they want to do it for Hoskins. He's never been.
It's true.
Right.
He handles the booze better than anybody I've ever encountered, Jim.
Did you hear his brilliant description about Philadelphia during the Atlanta series?
Tell us.
I mean, I'm sure you heard it. People like to say, they get on you when you're good, or they get on you when you're bad. They love you when you're good. And we've all heard that, and we all agree, right? I thought, summed it up really succinctly. He said Philadelphia is an honest market.
Wow. Yeah.
It's honest. It's honest. And that, they do.
It's a perfect answer.
Yeah, it's well said. You're talking about a guy who gets it.
It's an honest market, and he never puts his head down, and he understands it. and he understands how bad they want it. And he's another one. So there's so many great stories. So many guys have never been there in that clubhouse. And look, they love what Bryce did, but they really, really pull for each other. They really pull for each other. It's not fake. And maybe it's a product of just the winning. It's like, what comes first, the winning or the chemistry, the chicken or the egg? But I don't know. I do believe it started when the manager got fired and they looked in the mirror and they knew they were part of it. And then they won 8 in a row. And they got this underdog manager who's never done it before. And when you have a team of superstars making bazillions of dollars and you got a baseball lifer who gets his shot and all he cares about is trying to help you guys and make you guys look good, I just think they rally behind him. And I think they appreciate that underdog quality. And the togetherness starts right there at the top with Rob Thomson.
So Jim, as we sit here today and you look at this matchup coming up against Houston, what's the storyline going in? I mean, Houston is unbelievable, but you look at their pitching staff with Verlander, Javier, Valdez, McCullers, and the closer Presley. What's the initial storyline for you going into this series?
I got a bunch of them, man. One of them you just kind of talked about. Their pitching is great and deep. I think the Phillies got 2 good ones at the top. Phillies need to pitch well. They need to catch the ball, and you can't walk people, and you got to get timely hits. But not giving extra base runners is going to be huge, and you do that by not walking people and don't give them 4 and 5 outs. Make the plays you have to make, and then make a great one now and then too. So Houston's pitching is a big storyline. Houston, the powerhouse that they are, a big storyline. I mean, look at this Yordan Alvarez, who's a monster and hits bombs, and he hits 300. I mean, he's tough. They got a lot of great talent. Bregman and Altuve are great players. Yordan Alvarez is a great player. They have a Hall of Famer going to pitch game 1, and Verlander. So their greatness. And can the underdog Phillies continue their improbable run? That's a big storyline. You got the old wily veteran and Dusty Baker, who's never won a World Series and is universally respected and I would even say beloved. Can he get his first World Series against an underdog manager and Rob Thomson, who was a lieutenant all these years and finally getting a chance to be a general and be a damn good one? So that's another storyline. And then, you can't ignore the fact that, I mean, the Astros have been really great for a number of years, been in 6 of 8 ALCSs, and they've only won 1 World Series, and that was in 2017. And by the way, that's tainted.
Right.
Tainted.
Yep.
There's no question that's tainted because of the cheating scandal. So they have enough guys still on that team and the franchise and the brand, et cetera, that want to prove that they can win one legitimately. So there's that is driving them. And I see that as a big storyline. I think it's driving them now because they're 9-0 in the postseason. They look like a juggernaut that's just going to steamroll everybody. Well, can the underdog Phillies not be steamrolled? We're going to find out. But I do think, I mean, you guys know, great athletes find motivation in anything.
Yep.
Chris Schilling was a master at finding motivation in anything. And, I'm reading this book about the Patriots. And Belichick is a master. Whenever he feels like his team is slighted, he is a master at using that as motivation. He drops it in a team meeting and uses it like, you guys have been dissed. You guys have been slighted. Well, the whole world wants to know if the whole world thinks the Astros cheated and their rings are fool's gold. And if they're not motivated by that, the guys that were there to win one legitimately and, maybe take their ring and put it on a certain finger and hold it up to the world, then, they're losing to me, a real valuable piece of motivation. So that's a big storyline that I think is going to fuel Houston as well. But man, the world loves a good story, and these Phillies are a good underdog story.
That's right.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Jimmy, awesome, man. Awesome. Looking forward to your work and continue the great work. And we'll check you out, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. Of course, I'll check you out on Twitter as well.
Our podcast. We got a good podcast. Me and Corey Seidman. We're at Phillies Talk Podcast. Give that a listen if you would. And
yes, absolutely.
Always worth it, man. You guys
Thank you, brother.
Job. Jim, thanks, man. And safe travels to Houston. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thank you. All right, you got it. This kind of guy Jim was. Jim was getting he had like a maintenance dude over there at the house, getting everything done. He had a window. You know how it is. You never know with these windows. They give you a window that's like 5 hours. As soon as the window was up, he said, check everything with me, see where we're at. Guy left, boom, comes on with us. So that's kind of guy Jim Salisbury is. All right, we'll get a quickie here, guys. We'll come back. We'll turn our sights to the NFL. We'll talk about last night's game, some other moves that are made, some trades, some injuries, and we'll do a little buy and sell. We will do all of that. And by the way, 2:30, your opportunity to potentially win tickets to either game 3, 4, or 5 of the World Series. You won't get that anywhere else but right here. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any type of issues in your yard or on your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts trimming all types of trees, and they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we've got the storm season here. We've got some bad winds. You can get crazy this time of year. Now's a great time to have your trees evaluated. Make sure those branches aren't coming down on wires in the yard, hurting somebody, etc. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call right now, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game